3, 2, 1. Me a lazy boy.
You're live. All right, welcome to SouFLoTV with Brains and the Beat. And we are going to be talking about a bag of things this evening. Welcome, everybody. Come on in, come on in, come on in. The show has officially started. All right. Now, we're going to be here for 1 solid hour. 1 solid hour. I'm about to bust this bottle of champagne open for celebration purposes, celebrating life, celebrating health, happiness. I hit 140,000 subscribers today thanks to my audience. So we're going to celebrate that just with a little sip of a bottle of champagne, yeah? So this evening we're going to be talking about the Karen Cleary update. We're going to leave that story for last. Everybody knows Brains, baby girl.
Hi.
Right? Somebody gonna say, Shannon, no girl, SouFLo is a young lady. Don't get all in your feelings, it ain't that serious. All right. So, and everybody knows little Kai Kai. All right. Manners and respect, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. Babe.
Yes.
I don't want this papa lick up my teeth, you know.
Turn the other way. Thanks very much.
I don't pop champagne often, people, and the champagne can't now come out. Anyways, give me a minute. I'm not gonna move or something. I'm not gonna work.
Okay.
Why not? Come on, though.
I have an idea.
Oh my gosh.
You can't open it.
So, as I was getting ready to bust this bottle of champagne here, I can't get the top off. Welcome in, blessings, manners and respect, manners and respect. All right. Yo, I gotta start going back to the gym. So, see there? All right.
Babe, so I'll make this area chat now.
Not showing up in the screen. Oh, let me tell the people, every time we go live, something happens.
Yeah, because YouTube is switching up.
Yeah, YouTube is making a lot of changes. And we don't know what's going on. We just got to roll with the changes. Anyway, we're going to leave the Karen Cleary update for the last. The reason why? Because I know a lot of people are going to have a lot to say. If not, anything else is a very dramatic kind of story. Real pasa thing. Yeah? So we're going to leave it there, so. And we're going to talk about, I could start off, get the serious thing out of the way first. So the most serious thing we're talking about is
mental health.
Zoso. Oh. Let's run through the Zoso thing real quick first so people understand what's going on. So Zoso was put in place in Jamaica, right? To make sure that the whole heap of killing quell, calm down. And you know, we were up in arms about it, especially on our channel. We go in talking about how 1,616 people murdered in one 12-month period. That's, I don't know if it's an anomaly.
That's craziness.
Just craziness, simply put. All right, Brother Andrew Holness said, no more, we can't do it. Roll out the army, roll out the police force, multiple checkpoints across the island, and some places really lock down those places. We have to give credit where credit is due. And that Zoso worked so good that the murder rate in St. James alone has been cut by 70%. 70%. That's something to be thankful for and something to respect. You know what I'm saying? So now they're playing politics with our lives. And the people of Jamaica don't know if they're paying attention. I understand that the people like partying and all that, But I think they're holding their heads down and partying. And at the time when it's needed for them to hold their heads up, pause the music for a second and make some noise, certain things are missing them. So we are here to sound the alarm like, hey, hold the party for a minute. Talk about this for a minute. Politics time again. What the politicians are doing is PMP jumped in the other day and said, we are voting for Zoso to be finished because
Yes.
the time frame set for it has come.
Not only that, babe, they're saying that the JLP needs to come up with a real plan of how they're going to reduce crime and not just use Zoso as a band-aid, basically.
Right. But that okay. Yes, and they did say that. Now, here's the thing. Until we come up with something else or something better, there's no need to move Zoso out the way.
Yeah.
Right? It's working. Let it work. If anything, fine tune it and make it work even better. But when you're going to talk about we're voting to do away with Zoso completely, what do you want? They want a bloody Christmas and a bloody New Year's. That's what's going to happen. And if they remove Zoso right now in Jamaica, believe me when I tell you, there are people on the ground right now that's paying attention. Bad man from certain area just a wait. The police presence and soldier presence ease up so them can go back in those places because money in them place there. Stronghold in those places. Vulnerable citizens are in those places. But here is the trick. Politics with the people's life. This is the trick. If PMP come in and say, and I don't want anybody on here talking about JLP this and PNP that, the way how I do it, and I understand that the way how she does it as well, is we're Jamaica first. Yeah? No political affiliation, Jamaica first. We don't put no party before country. We want the well-being for the country. We want the well-being for the people of Jamaica, regardless of party. So what we see going on here now, though, is PMP jumps in and says, vote and do away with Zoso. Once Zoso is done away with, this is what's going to happen next. You're going to have a bunch of murders, and then when voting time comes around and election campaigning time comes around again, they're going to run on that premise. Well, it was on the JLP watch that a whole bunch of people died and got murdered and slaughtered. Well, they did so because you voted away the one thing that protects us at this moment. And we're taking the calls right off the bat. We just a jump a job. All right. First caller. Live, you're on the air. What on, family? Greetings. All is well?
Yeah, man, all is well, family. All is well.
All right. Talk to us.
First of all, yeah, man, first of all, I'd like to say something regarding the zones on the state of emergency. See?
Yeah.
First of all, the PMP, the Zozo part, them did support, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the SOE, the
state of operation emergency, yeah,
was supposed to be cancelled. Like for Kingston and St. Andrew, it's gonna be cancelled in the second. It's gonna come to terms, and then the St. Catherine North is on the 7th of January, and the Mobile one is on the 31st of January.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My opinion on it basically is that I never have a problem with it when it just started because them that go on buck wild.
Right.
In other place.
Right.
But my thing is that my thing with it is this, right? What should happen when he implemented the state of emergency? He should have had a plan. The state of emergency, in my opinion, was just to buy yourself some time.
Mm-hmm.
Drop the iron fist, buy yourself some time for him to start implement those plans, because he himself said it. It can't be an indefinite thing.
Right, because
yeah.
Financially, they're saying they can't support it.
Well, I don't know about that part, but I'm not really sure about that part, so I'm not gonna really talk on something that I'm not sure about.
Right.
To look stupid, but at the end of the day, Because I hear some comments and after a while, I'm saying, it's getting ridiculous now because you don't even have a blueprint of the plans that you're supposed to make.
Yeah. They were supposed to have a 2018 security plan, and there's still none. And that's why PNP was trying to say they need to have a plan and stop using zone of special operations and the state of emergency as a band-aid. But those are actually working, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's working. Yeah, because it's slowing down things a little. I agree with that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I in my is like to me because them PMP the whole issue is that people crying out about PMP wicked on this and that and PMP gonna make people dead and all kind of rubbish. Listen, in my opinion, the police can do them work without state of emergency. They still can be there. Them still can cordon off who them are cordon off and search them a search and carry them duties. You don't need a state of emergency for police them work. The state of emergency with them cancel it is because them concerned about people basic human rights or innocent youth all up in a lock of few much days or months or whatever.
Okay.
And the conditions that they were kept in. It's not to do away with police and soldiers, it's just to do away with that fine print aspect of the thing. And plus, even your business people are complaining. Because me see even the Observer, man write comment and I say, boy, basically, if you borrow a loan to open a business and then you can't pay back the loan, or if you even rent a place to do your business for lock up a certain time and you can't make the money you're supposed to make, then that is, that's going to be detrimental to you. A lot of people may lose and work over that.
All right.
So there need to be a balance with the thing.
Yes.
Wrap it up for me, caller.
Yeah, man. I just got my officer right now. Come now all of the time,
All right. Manners and respect, yeah?
And big up prayers. Yeah, man.
Yes, sir. Blessings.
Blessings.
All right. I agree to a certain extent with that one there. Big up to the man. You heard what he said. I agree to a certain extent with that. Here's my issue with that. Whatever is in place is working now, whether we want to call it zone of special operation, whether we want to call it state of emergency, whether we want to call it who fly down from where and kill what, whatever we want to call it, whatever we have now is working now, right? He's addressing an issue though about, because you know what they did, if you check the numbers, it was 100. Yes, caller, welcome. SouFLoTV and Brains here.
Well, yes, SouFLo. First of all, let me address this problem here. You guys here, you don't appreciate the income factor, Not saying you don't appreciate, but we don't get enough big up. But anyways, just straight topic.
Big up yourself, man.
Returning residents in Jamaica, yeah, things I don't even know, man. Number one, you can't trust nobody. Workers, police, you just can't trust nobody, you get me? Second thing again, when they get these news, they break out, we don't know like what really happening, how it goes down and stuff like that. Jamaica police, they don't report nothing really. Like for example, this story, Jamaica media, for example, they don't really be transparent to anything. We don't have much knowledge on like nothing. If we never for instance, vloggers like SouFLo and a few others like give you like real in-depth information of the situation. Because for example, if we never get like brains and the beat update or update, who don't know like certain stuff like come on SouFLo. Like you get the point where I come from.
Yeah.
You know, one people like that, no. You understand?
Yeah. And that's media control though, brother. And that, I think that is in every country, media control. Because you know the media control the masses of the people. So don't depend on mass media. That's why we say on our channel, right? Where's that, babe?
I said this is not CVM or TVJ, and we are not going to be politically correct.
Right.
We're here to talk about what CVM and TVJ cannot talk about because they're restrained or restricted based on whoever is in parliament or government or whoever control the media that they are on.
And it's the same thing for CNN, MSNBC, BBC.
Yeah.
These people are entities that are connected to a greater entity who tells them what to say and what they cannot say, basically. So that's what it is, brother. So yeah, we were building our own outlet.
Like, trust me, for every Jamaican living in this area, like, don't be afraid to go home. Like, you know what I mean? But one thing, make sure you visit often, keep in contact with families,
yes,
close friends and stuff.
Yes.
Because if you don't, like, cut a base, like, come on, they're gonna take you for man, like, swear down. You gotta go there, make sure you got a base, make sure if anyone listening, you live in America, England, anywhere, man, make sure that if you haven't got a steady base, you haven't got someone you can trust, don't just send your money to someone that, it doesn't matter, brother, sister, mom, dad, everyone that is dying, it's because of close relatives, close friends, workers, etc. Every single returning resident, it's not no random thing, it's got to be like close people, like, you know what I mean? I'm not going to take up much time. I know we got a lot of corners.
All right, brother.
You know what I mean? People, progress. Everyone watching, keep support. Make sure, like, you guys, if you want to support the channel, make sure you watch the ads. Watch the ads, read the comment. Don't read the comment, watch the videos. And peace out. Bless up.
Bless up. And big up the whole British family, yeah?
Yeah, man. Bless up, man, all the time, man.
All right, brother.
Yeah, man.
All right, so big up a whole British family. The brother said we don't give them enough big up, and some more big up again to the whole UK family. Listen, that's exactly like what he just said. They're not going to give you the whole 100. And now we have to dig and find sense and nonsense and sift it out and put our intelligent minds together. That's why it's important to not cow down who's bringing you. And we realized that that was happening to us. Like, people were actually cowing us into a corner to where they wanted us to say what they want to hear. They wanted us to sound like what other people sound like. And me and my wife sit down and look at each other and we said, you know what? Don't do it. Don't do it. Stick to what it is we are, how we deliver our thing. And don't be afraid to put it out there when you get it.
I don't know if it's a Caribbean thing or it's a Jamaican thing where they feel like if we're not saying what everybody else saying, we are wrong.
Right.
And we're not allowed to give our thoughts and opinions. This is a free world. Everybody is able to give their thoughts and opinions. Some may be scared to because of where they live or who they're around, or they feel like they're gonna get hurt, but it's a free world. Like, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, it's okay to not run with the pack.
Yeah,
it's okay to not run with the pack. Now, I could round up the Zoso thing and then go into the whole thing with the soldier now. So the Zoso thing is something that's very serious. I want people to pay attention to it, and it's going to affect all of us, okay? Especially if they do away with that Zoso thing. We have family that's there in Jamaica. We have family that's going down there. We ourselves, a lot of us, are planning on being there sometime soon, right? So it is going to affect you. You drop on the ground, and when you get there, it's all mayhem and chaos. The brother just called before, said police can do their duty without zone of operation or special. What that whole thing was a combined effort between the JCF
and the JDF.
It's
a joint operation.
And we need that joint operation to continue. Jamaica soldiers don't deploy. They don't go fight wars overseas. And any other thing else they're doing is on the ground in Jamaica. That's where their duty is. So why not put them to work? They're getting paid taxpayers' money, a decent salary, a decent salary to what? To train and stay fit and sit down all day and play domino. Or I don't understand. Like, there's nothing wrong. Put them out there, let them protect the people and protect the country. Don't it? All right. So we're going to move forward, and what we're going to talk about now is the whole
mental illness.
Yeah, we're getting up to the main topic. The main topic is going to be a one bag of pasa, like I said before, because this whole current clear thing just blow the roof straight off. And thanks to my audience members, thanks to the diligent people who actually pay attention.
And actually,
and we're going to get into that in a minute.
Engage.
Yeah, let's talk about
mental illness and
All right, so you have a police officer, I mean a soldier. Sorry, you have a JDF soldier, and I'm gonna say it again on this platform. I have great respect for the JDF.
Yeah.
My dad served as a career intelligence officer in the JDF. Okay, that's all I ever known my dad to be, like the entire time. So my dad being what he was, I grew up as that.
Yeah.
It was no wonder I followed suit because I did 10 years in the army myself as an infantry soldier, but he was an intelligence officer in the JDF in Jamaica. But let me say something. All right. So this incident that took place with this JDF officer, a lieutenant, by the way, and his attorney wife,
Yeah.
he ended up stabbing her multiple times, right? And when they came to the house, so neighbors alerted the police. Lord, noise are going over there. We hear screaming. It sounds like something happened. We hear things are mash up. I guess she was fighting for her life and he was doing her in. When they went over there, she was laying down, multiple stab wounds, and he was just sitting there. No fight, no argument, no nothing. Just sitting there with his wife he had stabbed multiple times. They're saying that he was recently being treated for
Depression.
mental illness. Somebody today said depression. I haven't seen where it said depression in writing.
Yeah.
I saw it in the comment section where somebody said depression, but he was being treated for a mental illness. Here's my thing. Within Jamaica, within the Caribbean, within the black community, African community, worldwide, because in Africa is the same thing as in the Caribbean. It's the same thing when it comes to mental illness. Within Black American, African American, wherever there's a community of African descendants, mental illness is stigmatized and looked at in a way that is not helpful to us.
Yeah.
And because of these stigmas we have placed on mental illness, we cannot get our people the proper help to move us forward. So it's not until things like these happen that everybody is, oh my God, look here, him mad, him go mad, him stab up the girl. They would rather say, obia. I've seen Jamaican people say this. Well, a lot of Haitians move to the island and then bring things with them, implying now that our Haitian brothers and sisters moving to Jamaica brought voodoo with them or bad spirits with them. And we're now going to blame it on them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How ignorant is that? In 2018, this is what we're thinking. As somebody, in 2018, this is what we're thinking. Yeah. There's a brother from my community in Jamaica. He was very intelligent and still is very intelligent. I'm not gonna call out his name because I don't want to publicize him thing. But he went from being that to just sit down in one place on a wall every day. So much so that they named the wall after him. Right. And when I went back to Jamaica and I saw him the other day, him looked upon me and he was able to remember me after not seeing me for a while because I hadn't seen him in years. And his conversation and everything was top of the line, right? But he had lost his faculties so much so that the man just start walk the road and just start not caring about bathing and all these things. It happens. Our people need to understand that a chemical imbalance in the brain is what it is. Yeah. And it can be caused by a series of traumatic events. It can be caused by, it can be hereditary.
Yeah, it can be triggered by somebody saying something to you or doing something to you.
Right.
Like, it can be triggered by anything.
It can be triggered by suppressed feelings because of things that you endured, traumatic events you've endured. You know what I'm saying? A child that, say for instance, that a guy, a boy, or a female that endured some rape or something, or multiple times going through that same thing over a period of time,
yeah,
carrying all that inside of them and not saying anything, not getting the proper psychotherapy, not getting the proper walkthrough of it, what ends up happening is a breaking point, okay? A breaking point. And you start to trip off. You start to really think something is wrong with you, and then me hear voices. Voices that say, people don't understand that depression itself. Another thing they say is, a weak mind, that man. This is a typical Jamaican thing. Manners and respect, reggae mats. Blessings. This is a typical Jamaican thing. A weak mind, that man, him weak out, him weak out. That's what road people say. Church people say, you know, pray hard enough. That's why the devil take you over. Pray harder. I mean, how hard can you pray? My brother was 23 when he passed. Or he was 22. He passed on his 23rd birthday. And I remember my mom telling him about pray hard enough. And you know what he looked at my mom and said? He looked at my mom and said, Mommy, may I pray harder? You just don't know. And it not work. Right? And he's gone. And he left me at friggin' 23 on his 23rd birthday. So this hits very close to home, man. Not only under my father under JDF, but also my brother on losing his life to mental illness kind of thing at the same. So, and I'm very up close with this. And I work in the field of occupational therapy. I know this, right? Now, what our people need to understand about mental illness is we need to stop with the stigmas.
Yeah.
We need to stop with the stereotypes. We need to start taking a scientific approach to dealing with mental illness.
And having open conversation about
just a simple open conversation.
Like, don't let somebody feel bad because they're exposing that they have a mental illness. Don't look at them like they need pity or you feel sorry for them. Like they're just a regular human being going through something.
And that's one of the things they will tell you too. Is,
yeah,
I don't want nobody think that me I go mad enough, but me I hear voices. I think me need some help. That's just that. When I said that to you just now, what I just said is something that's very personal to me. That's exactly how it went down in my life. Yeah, it was. Me no want nobody thinks that me I go mad, you know, but me hear voices and them I tell me to do things, you know, and me feel like me need some help. And people are saying those are the same people that always say they're fine, they don't need no help. That's a part of it. That's a part of the mental illness process.
Yeah.
Them voices start saying, you're good, man. You don't need no help, man. You're all right.
You're all right. Yeah.
And this person is, and then this person catch themselves at a down point and they're like, no, man, something wrong with me. We really need some help.
Yeah.
But everybody around you is saying, I'm mad, now. Look at the boy, I'm mad out. I'm weak, man. And who's not telling you you're weak? I tell you, so them obey you, and who not tell you them obey you, I tell you, so you're not pray hard enough, and all these other things.
Yeah.
Like, we need to overcome that. We need to overcome that because it's
a hindrance.
It is a hindrance.
For our people and for us to be better people in general and better for society.
There's a lot of untreated mental illness in Jamaica.
Yes.
A lot of it. And some of the stuff that happened in Jamaica, people think it's normal. I just wicked man. No. It takes somebody that has some issues here to do some of the things, a lot of the things that are being done there.
Yeah.
You understand? So we have mental illness going unchecked and we just chalk it up to, oh, then just wicked man. Welcome, family. You're live on the air with SouFLo and Brains. Welcome. Hello. Talk up. All right, lost that caller. Yeah, man. So the mental illness thing, we need to really let me look into some of what the audience is saying.
Someone was asking why, if he was being treated for depression, why was he still in the JDF?
They're not gonna just fling you up because you're being treated for depression.
There are rules that they have to follow. They can't just fling you out of your job because you have mental illness. And mental illness is considered kind of like a disability. And there are certain rules and regulations certain corporations have to follow. Like they have to make sure you get help. They can't just fling you out your job like that.
Welcome with SouFLo and Brains. How you doing?
Hello, SouFLo. Good night.
Good night. How you doing, family?
I'm good. Bless up.
Blessings.
I just had to say and agree with you and confirm that Jamaicans really hide from this thing, mental illness. It's not for somebody to feel bad about themselves because it can happen to you at any stage in your life.
Yes.
Some is worse than others. and anything can lead you into a depression.
Yes.
If you don't hold strong. I am
Facts.
speaking from personal experience. There's a lot of stuff that has happened to me in my life within the last 2 years that has caused me to feel depressed.
Yes.
It makes you reflect on your life, what you could have done, how you were treated, how unfair maybe God is. And it can lead you into depression. You start to compare yourself to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as people, we shouldn't do that. And that's what depression leads you to. For me, anyways.
Right.
I speak like my daughter. My daughter passing away this year, July the 13th.
Oh, man.
And I losing my job 2 years ago, right as I purchased my first home.
Yeah.
Back to back to back.
Yeah.
Okay, after 25 years of working in a company.
This is what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, and I go back to work after vacation, and they call me in the office and they say they're downsizing. You know how those companies use that word.
Mm-hmm.
So I get my home, and I come in, and I exhaust all. In Canada, it's called RRSP, which is savings that you pay through your paycheck.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I go on unemployment, and thinking you're going to get it for a year, they cut you off 9 months.
6 months. They do the same thing.
After working 25 years. For you, it's probably less.
Wow.
And then you're sitting at home now, and you get a little hustle in a gym, pushing a broom by sweeping the gym, cleaning the toilets. Okay? And then on your way to that gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, you get a phone call that your daughter passed away at 37 years old. Like, you see how you can spiral into a depression?
Yes, ma'am. And that's exactly what I was saying. And that's exactly that textbook you're telling us. Textbook how it happens.
So mental illness is real. I'm a 57-year-old woman. I have all my faculties in place. But life happens to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you don't hold firm to your beliefs and know that even though you may question God, He's still able, you can fall by the wayside.
Yes.
Not because you're weak, but because your mind takes you to places that sometimes you just can't get back from. It's like a downward spiral.
Yeah.
And you go to that dark place.
Yes.
And sometimes you can't get yourself out of it.
Amen, my sister.
Yeah.
You understand me?
Yes.
And I have to say, I've subscribed to you for years, but I've never commented. But your program has allowed me now, if you noticed, I have been commenting a lot.
Yes.
It's like an outlet for me.
Yes.
Right? In a sense. You understand?
Yes.
And okay, the doctor gave me medications and I took it. But when I don't take it, I feel away and I don't like the way I feel. I still continue to pray, but I don't take the medication as like every day. I take it like maybe today and I don't take it tomorrow. And eventually I know I will be off that medication.
Yeah.
But you have to have faith and you have to work. You can't just sit down and pray and hope it will go away.
Yeah.
And you have to encourage yourself sometimes. It's not easy, my sister. Trust me.
Yes.
My daughter left 3 children, 16, 11, and 7.
Were you the one that spoke? Were you the one that talked to you?
Yes.
Your.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So now that you're on here, right? Thanks for calling in, because I was wondering what happened, because we started communicating, and you just never wrote me back again.
Yeah.
So I was wondering what happened.
I sent the email wrong. Your email was capitals, and I think I sent it different. I'm not, computer literate.
I was very worried. And I started telling my wife, and I said, I'm not into setting up GoFundMe's and whatever, but your situation, I think we could rally our audience to your side for support, because just by you telling me about your daughter passing away at that age and the back-to-back events, and then you're now there to take care of her children, her 3 children and all this, and you losing your own job and all this other stuff, I'm like, man, this is too much. Just listening to you made me feel like my string was spiraling out of control.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you are going through a lot, and I can only imagine.
Yeah, he told me about it.
I thank you. I really do. It's only grace of God. Believe me, I'm not easy to live with some days. You can ask my daughter. Okay?
Mommy,
but
most mommy.
I have my good days and I have my bad days. But what I'm trying to say is, don't discount depression, Jamaicans. It's real.
Yes.
Okay? It's real. Schizophrenia, it's real. Okay? All of that stuff is real.
Yes.
So if your child may be acting away and doing certain things, or you yourself are going through certain things, seek counseling. Talk to somebody if you can't afford it. You understand? Listen to some music, some uplifting music that will encourage your spirit and your soul.
Yes.
You understand me? Because if you don't do that, you're gonna fall by the wayside, and the enemy will take your mind and because your mind is the enemy's playground. If you wake up in the morning, he starts planning how he's gonna deal with your ass. Excuse my language.
Talk up, man. Talk up.
You gotta stay focused. You gotta stay positive. You gotta stay uplifting. Does it work all the time? No. But you still have to continue doing it. There's days and nobody knows. You know, and I just keep going. I question God sometimes, and I don't want to, because brains, if I'm questioning God, I'm going to say, that means that me better than you.
Yeah.
Because why my daughter? That means to me, I say, why not somebody else's, right?
Yes, very true.
Facts.
Why me at this age? That makes me, I wish it was somebody else, right?
Yes,
so
very true.
I can't let myself get that way. And that's why it bothers me so much when I see us treat each other like that.
Yeah.
Because life is too short.
Yeah.
You know, it's too short and it's too precious for us to waste it cutting each other down and not uplifting each other and trying to find a solution to the problem if we work together. That's all.
Yes. Very true.
All right. Love you guys. You guys are sweet.
All right. Please get back in touch with me. Please get back in touch with me on SouFLoTV at gmail.com, please.
I will SouFLo up.
Or
up,
WhatsApp.
up.
All right. Bless up here.
Bless
Canada.
All right. More strength.
One love.
One love.
Right.
Oh, man. And I don't want to show the lady thing, but her 3 grandchildren were here. 3 sweet children, man.
Yeah.
3 sweet, small children. I can't imagine even just being a kid at an age where you understand that my mom just died. And you have to process that.
Yeah.
The kids are gonna need help too, no?
Yeah, yeah.
Serious help. Greetings, welcome. SouFLo and Brains here.
Hey, SouFLo and Brains, how are you?
Good family, how you doing?
I'm good. So I'm just so excited that you guys are doing this session, because I think as a Jamaican, it's so very important. It's important for our culture. And today in this era, I feel like we are back in times. You mentioned that Jamaicans like struggle with a lot, and you know, you're right. We don't talk a lot about the pain that we suffer. Some people, you know, they've been raped, and you know, it's a taboo. We don't talk about it. All these different things that goes on culturally that we don't talk about. And like people walk around and they say, "Oh, I'm a madman."
Yes.
No man, I'm sick. And like, you know, technically that is mental illness. Deep down inside, those people are suffering.
Yes.
But we blow it off and we don't really reach out. And you know, I have this conversation with people all the time, even from Jamaica, like, yo, like, we got to do this and you got to talk to this person because it's not as simple. So I'm hoping that people are really listening to you and that they can share it with others and make sure that they make a difference, because mental illness is real.
Very real.
Very true. Very real.
Very real. Yes, caller.
Okay, so thanks. Great session.
Thank you. Bless
for
up here.
calling in.
All right. So yeah, the lady that called before, talking about her daughter passing away, leaving her 3 little children for her to now take care of, and
Losing her job.
the amount of things that she's going through on top of having to bury her daughter, then take care of her 3 children and all this other stuff, and becoming unemployed at 50 something years old and all this other stuff. That lady, we're going to need help, okay? Genuinely asking for help, genuinely going to need help. But I was talking to her before, and you heard me ask her, why did you disappear or where did you go? Because she just disappeared.
Yeah.
Right? And I thought, oh man, I hope she's all right, because she sounded in the way she writes very well. And she sounded in the way she writes as if she was taking me through what she was going through. And I was hoping that it's not a case of me can't take it no more, me just drink some Gramazone kind of situation. So now that she surfaced here, I'm asking her to stay in touch with me again. And if she comes back in touch, we're going to try to set up a way that we can all contribute a little something to help her out. Yeah. People, a lot of the times, you don't understand. $1, $2, $5, that
50 cents.
50 cents. It works for people. Yeah. The man who or the woman that don't have it enough, it's everything to them enough. When you can just pick it up out of your ashtray, out of your car change, out of your car seat, out your sofa. So when we start this, we'll put it in place properly, and then make it properly organized, and we will let everyone know. That way it's open and we can all watch it and we can all see where it's going. Yeah. All right. So I promise that we'll stay on top of that as things develop and as we communicate with her, keep in contact with her. Yeah. Those children are going to need help, man. And it still takes a community. No matter what people want to tell us, it still takes a community. When we start forgetting about each other, you know, so we're going to hell. Yeah. It still takes a community. We don't want hell on earth. But it is such for a lot of people already. Hell on earth. So I'm going to slow down the calls and I'm going to read a couple of comments. So I'm going to slow down the calls. I'm going to read a couple of comments because I don't want my people here feeling ignored. Because I see you commenting, but as you can see, the calls are coming in and we're talking. Yeah. Right? So there was one person that just said, man, there are so many comments here that are well worth reading. I'm just stuck. Sorry. And again, I don't want to disrespect nobody calling in. Welcome to SouFLoTV with Brains and the Beat.
Hi.
Hey, family.
Yeah, bless up SouFLo. Then get a shout from Jamaica, you know?
All right, my brother. Turn down your device and then we can hear you loud and clear.
Whatever you're listening to.
Yeah, more touch upon his household issue in Jamaica, but I know it's not true.
Yeah.
On the topic. Yeah, but come just one figure the Andrew Wallace idea. I mean, we can work on it, and it have to work. You understand?
Yeah. Go on now.
Yeah, man. So there's also the surgery on the road version. And that to really make sense to me still, you know. The thing I want some patrol in the areas, them right?
Mm-hmm.
Go can't get the money upon the main road, I know, so, but the money don't know so about Zozo up on the road. So the parents of put the man them in the community, them right?
Mm-hmm.
Put a local 1 patrol, a 2 patrol. You understand? That way them can keep an eye upon the community, them right?
Yeah.
And back up the close by. just to support them, just in case, right?
Embed them in the communities.
That come like a joke to me, you understand?
Yeah.
The man can depend on the road, no, but limit them, right? Focus on the areas them. For you do that, we will get on control of this country. But without that region, to be honest with you, it's definitely not going to work. That the man upon the road, brother, that not really make much of sense, right? Put the man under the
All right, so you're saying that them being funded. Wrap it up for me. I'm not gonna elaborate on what you said.
Put the man under the community, them, right?
All right.
Make the money work because you work one. That the money can work. Much of sense, right? Put the areas in your must can get an information. So the community will more respect.
All right, family.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just my intro policy, you know?
All right, good take. And I'm gonna elaborate on that a little bit here. Manners and respect.
Yeah, man, bless up, man.
Yes, I bless up.
Yeah.
All right, you see. All right, so I'm not gonna take any more calls. I'm gonna say a couple of things. We have 15 minutes left, and the 15 minutes left we're gonna use to talk about the whole current clear situation. So things are gonna get a little bit lighter now. But let me say this before I leave. You see, when people come on and I talk about cut off the caller there and them no sound too. Well, listen, that same tune there with Black Rhino and Shayna put out Somebody Picnic. There's a line in that song where Black Rhino sings might not come from a good area, might not have a good education, can't even hold a decent conversation, but may have somebody picnic too, right? And them thing there, those things cut deep for me. I don't ever like to cut people off. I don't ever like to feel like, say, oh, I'm eloquent with words and this person isn't, so you're not worth me speaking to. My grandparents always tell me this: you can learn something from everybody that come across your path. And don't ever think you're too big and high to learn from anybody, right? The smallest child and the person where you are called dunce and slow and all that can always teach you something. So manners and respect. Listen, the youth I say
they need to embed the soldiers.
Embed them into the communities.
The rough communities. They need to embed them in the communities.
Make them foster a relationship with the citizens of the communities.
Instead of have them just in a one specific area.
Yes.
So
just a check car per road.
Yeah.
Because while police and soldiers out there check car per road, honestly, the people them who do them thing and cut road in a back road and through bush go do what they're doing anyways. You know how Jamaica, topographically, you know how Jamaica stay, right? So he had a point and he's making very good sense.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna lighten up the evening now and we're gonna talk about current clearing. We have to cut it off at 1 solid hour of a show. So here we go. Now, this whole thing about Karen Clary is the reason why we decided to dig into it more and more was because, for one, we were getting different emails from Kaya. Your poop smell, someone? God, little boy. We were getting different emails from when different people from many different sectors are linking you and the stories are corroborating. I live right next to our mother. I've known her since we were 11 and 12. This kind of thing. Me know our brother. The youth were there at the house, our brother friend. Them know each other a long time. This and that and the other. Yeah. And things start to not add up. Is when we started to say, wow. Because see, what this turned into, right? This turned into a do not come back movement. Now, as much as we talk on our format or forum about things happening in Jamaica affecting Jamaicans, like the high murder rate and people going back to set up shop and I get killed and all this, we don't want nobody to ever say we said nobody shouldn't go back to Jamaica, because we encourage people to go back. And we were even saying with murder rate spiking the way it is, we feel guilty telling people go back. Let me turn off the AC here.
Yeah, to tell people go back and their life could possibly be in danger.
Right.
Because
So
we were encouraging people to go back, set up shop, make sure they connect with their community, build businesses and homes and all that. And then we got a tap on our shoulder saying that the murder rate is spiking out of control. And we may encourage somebody to go back and they end up being killed.
so in other words, then it's important for us to understand
Both sides of the fence.
yes, understand the details of these stories when they're happening, right? And that story I didn't clear did from the story hit. It
Yeah.
didn't sound right to me.
Yeah, and he told me exactly what he thought it was initially, and the same thing that he thought it was is what it ended up being.
Yeah, I just didn't want to say too much, and
Yeah.
people say, "So Flo, you're disrespecting the lady. She gone. She this and that."
Yeah.
So I didn't want to say anything.
And
I
we
wanted
didn't
to
have-
hear first.
Yeah, and he didn't have any evidence corroborate what he was gonna say or what he thought, but now we actually have articles and evidence and people speaking out.
Right. So Karen Cleary was married, right? But she was not married to Andy Kane. Andy Kane was not her husband. Now, if you go back and you look at all the prints that came out in Jamaica and in the early part, even in the UK news, Andy Kane was the one that was upfront in everything.
Yeah.
Right?
He was the one that sounded the alarm and said Karen Cleary would never go missing for 5 days and not contact
and
him.
She called him every day.
Yeah.
She spoke to him multiple times a day. The least she ever spoke to him was one time a day, and all that. Now, mind you, all right, Andy Kane, he was the one that also said she was the light of his life for the past 13 years. They've been in a relationship. He's a 56-year-old sales executive, right?
And he felt like a train ran over him.
He felt like a train ran over him and all this other stuff. Ken Brown. People are saying now, who is Ken Brown? Ken Brown is her real husband. And we were thinking, all right, then maybe her husband and her are separated and she's with Andy for the last 13 years. When it turns out it wasn't so.
Yeah.
She actually has a husband that she lived with. Like she and the man live together still, travel still, sleeping at the same bed, nothing wrong, right? And the husband himself now, Ken Brown, is saying the 65-year-old British man, he shows up with receipts in the form of a marriage certificate, right? And he's saying that Andy Kane, oh, that's just a friend of Karen's. So you imagine your wife have a relationship with a man for 13 years, right? And this man even told a Jamaican newspaper that she was building that house for him and her.
It was actually in the Sun UK, and it's titled "Boyfriend Devastated About the Death of Brit Jamaican Beautician." And you can go Google search it and you'll find the exact article where he said Karen Cleary and him were actually building the house together.
Right. But if you look at what her husband Ken Brown said, he said she was building
the house by herself.
She was building her house, but we were planning this life together.
And she has been building the house
for 7 years now.
Yeah.
Right? So to me now, this is not a double life. This is a triple life. Because then comes the guy that was staying at the house. And it just didn't sit right with me. And I know a lot of people try to find excuses. A 32-year-old locked up in a big house like that behind some big steel gate with a 44-year-old woman, a 32-year-old Jamaican man, and a woman will look good. Lock up around there, and he's property caretaker. Yeah? When people started coming out and saying, SouFLo, no man, we know him, man. He's a man well bossy with the Benz. You understand? Well show off with the Benz. Seen them on many occasions at many different events, and started giving us places where they have been seen. Popular events where people hang out at.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the mannerisms that were about them.
Yeah.
Tell of man and woman were dead together kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So this is not a double life. This is more like a triple life she was living. Because she was also linked to that property caretaker. And that is the guy who was charged with. Now, a lot of story come out. It's funny how Jamaican news get a little bit of information, but Jamaican entities give a lot of information to overseas authorities.
Yeah.
Like, we never know what part of the house she get killed in. If you get it from the British side, she was killed in the kitchen. She gets stabbed up in the kitchen. If you get it from the British side, the confession was already made. That is how they found her.
Yeah.
Because they interrogated him, he confessed, and not only confessed, but led them to the body and tell them, say, that's how me put it. The man, her husband now, Ken Brown. People are thinking that
Andy
it was
Kane.
Andy Kane was in Jamaica and fly down.
Yeah.
Ken Brown is in Jamaica. He flew down, right? And Ken Brown was there for all of this. And he said, had it not been for the guy confessing and leading them to the body, even if they came with cadaver dogs, Jamaican police told him that they would not have been able to find her body because she buried well deep.
Wrap up with chopper.
She was wrapped in a tarpaulin. She covered with cement down and dirt down.
Yeah.
All right. So it's a sad end. So, and I keep saying this. Oh, what tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. I mean, remember who say it. I'm sure in today's day and age, you can look it up real quick on Google and you'll know who said it. But married to Ken Brown for 15 years. No divorce or nothing. Still living with the man. He's 65 and she's 44. So he's an older guy for her. Been with Andy Kane for 13 years, even though she's married to Ken. And Andy Kane is younger than her husband, Ken. He's 56. Turn her husband age back where he's 10 years younger than her husband, right? Been in England for 20 years, married for 15 of those 20 years. So the picture that comes to my mind, and not to smear her again, is this. I've seen the scenario before. Yo, me I get a chance, you know, me I go England. It's when me reach. Straight me I look for straighten out my papers, you know. Straighten out myself, make sure I'm good, make sure I'm grab on a man who have some money that can take care of me and help me to take care of myself and all these other things. I have plans, I have dreams, I have goals. I'm going to accomplish them. This seems like a by any means necessary kind of thing. There's even talks about out there about her Canadian trip. And our Canadian people know her from the Jane and Finch area. I don't know if that guy traveled to Canada one time when she came down, and she would tell her husband she's going to Jamaica to look after the house, and she would fly, but she must have a sure receipt when she get back to Canada, to England. So he wants to see that, okay, you travel to Jamaica and you travel back. Let me at least see the flight itinerary.
Yeah.
And any normal man would do that. You wouldn't just say, your wife just pick up, yeah, I'm going to Jamaica, babe, for 2 weeks. And you just say, all right, babes, bye. No, you're going to look around for some kind of flight itinerary or something. I wonder if she really gone to Jamaica. You're not going with her or nothing. So what she would do is fly into Jamaica, then fly out of Jamaica to Canada, where he was at the time, fly back into Jamaica, and then fly from Jamaica back to England. So husband only get the itinerary flying into Jamaica and out of Jamaica. No Canada on the itinerary.
Yeah.
Right? These kind of things are going on. 65-year-old get our citizens. This is how I had it hashed out on pen and paper. Because this was so confusing to me. I had to get pen and paper with this one.
Yeah.
You know?
And people think that we just actually came up with this ourselves and we didn't have any like news articles and stuff to back up what we were saying.
Our people don't read and they don't investigate long enough.
But the thing is, he did it his way. I did it my way, where I told you exactly where I found the information, exactly where online you can find it yourself, and I talked about everything.
Yeah.
But he did it a totally different way. When I talk about the theories, what if Andy Kane was the one that actually said, okay, you're cheating on me with the caretaker, and you also have a husband, and you let her fry down by herself and set up the caretaker to take her life. That can be a theory also. Another theory is the husband and the Kane corroborated and said, okay.
The two English white men them corroborated because they've seen that they're both getting played.
Basically, and she has a boyfriend, so-called allegedly boyfriend, in the caretaker in Jamaica. The two of them set up and the two of them planned and got her killed. Or the caretaker can feel like you have me, and you not only have me, but you have two other men. No, that not gonna work. And he got angry, jealous, frustrated because he probably thought he was going to go to England and live the life.
Or live the life in the house with her.
Yeah.
And she has say, yo, my man will come, you have to go move out.
Yeah.
And you have to leave the key to the Benz and these kind of things. And they must say, but no, Karen, what do you mean man will come? No, move out, nothing. And you know, them kind of thing that happen.
Yeah.
Well, here what? Put down my key and come out then. And my things, and my house, and my car, and man decide to say, no, you know, use me like that, cause me there I do all the labor on this house while you about your business.
Yeah.
And these kind of things. So watch her video, because her video will tell you where to get all the information from, how we put all this together, because it's out there.
Yeah.
So you know that we're not just making stuff up. All right, it's out there. I didn't put all the links in my video. She put all the links in her video. So go check out Brain's video. Now, in theory, this is what I came up with. The 65-year-old, matter of fact, where she lives in London is an upscale area, right? So I'm thinking the 65-year-old get her papers are straight. She live in an affluent community. Then the 56-year-old get her the house and Benz that are the extra money, right? And the 32-year-old now, I him give her the dashina and cocoa in the back and them thing there. Yeah, the peanut punch
the
and the yeah. And boy, I don't know, that thing came full circle on her.
Yeah.
It came full circle on her. It's like you trying to trick a bunch of people and you end up getting tricked out of your life. Yeah. There's a lesson in this for all of us to learn.
Karma.
Karma. Somebody said karma never misses an address, all when you're homeless.
Yes, I saw that.
That's one that I will take.
Yeah.
Karma never misses an address, even when you're homeless. Be careful what you're out there doing, man. Be careful what you're out there doing to other people. Be careful when you're out there using people and thinking people are disposable. Not everybody is going to take it that way. You understand? And that whole culture of get it any way I can and use whoever I may have to use, forget it. Mm-hmm. Now, somebody here is talking about Killasin 730 says, who gets the life insurance?
That was why I was talking about my theories, because the husband can have a life insurance on Karen Cleary and got
proper thing
and got her killed in Jamaica, so it would not tie to him at all. Or Andy Kane could have had insurance on her and had her killed also. Or both of them could have linked up together, got her killed, and both of them got life insurance on either side. And that's what my video was about.
Proper thing.
So it's just a whole big web of things that can go awry when you try to play people, or when you play with people's love and emotion. Like, there's so much that you can't go through, basically, and you can actually lose your life.
Listen, Romario Toretto is saying there is no life insurance. What are y'all talking about? I know the family. You don't know the family, brother. You know the family, you don't know the husband, and you don't know their pen and paper business. If I have life insurance on Brains and she has a life insurance on me, her family don't know that, her close friends don't know that, and mine don't know that either. Yeah. These are the kind of things that I talk about right here. People just talk stuff just to talk stuff. Yeah. When we approach certain things, we need to approach it with an open mind. Yeah. And just see things for what it is and stop trying to make things be what you want it to be.
Yeah.
You understand? We wanted it to be that she was innocent. We wanted it to be that she just went down to Jamaica and it fits the narrative. So we start telling other people, don't go back to Jamaica because them just a kill off people down there as soon as you return. A lot of people want it to be that narrative. We understand that some people are committed to the idea of never returning, and they want some way to justify why they will never return to the beautiful island of Jamaica. Them a kill off the returnees, them too much down there. Me not go back, make nobody kill me off. Yeah. Well, we need to understand these situations then one by one for how it happened, how it took place. This one in particular is one bag of pasa mix up. The girl get herself in and get her life taken. No, nobody had the right to take her life. It's still wrong. It's still murder. I still say the murderer should be punished to the fullest extent of the law, and I hope they are, right? But at the end of the day, there are choices, and we need to start holding people accountable for their choices and stop being out here pretending that you can just kick can down the street in life and go happy lucky. And that's not how it works. There are consequences to your choices. You understand? And when us as a people start realizing there are consequences to our choices, we'll be better off.
Yeah.
Some people are going like there are no consequences to them choices, so them just live loose, hurt anybody in the process, and hurt even themselves. No, there are consequences to your choices. So you want to make our name look good and all that good, I understand. I wanted to do the same too. Yeah. That's why I refrained from saying what I thought from the first video. Yeah. I wanted to see more, but it was plain as day for anybody to see.
Yeah, and he discussed it with me when it initially happened.
But you know the family and there is no insurance. Like, are you an insurance agent?
And he was like, this is what happened. I was like, babe, we don't know that. And he said he's not going to do that because we didn't have any evidence. We didn't have any articles to prove it. We didn't have anything. And later on, this is what we find out.
Right. So for my people, I'm going down to Jamaica. Let's close out the video like this because we're past the hour. Let's close the video out like this, right? If you plan on not ever going back, that's understandable. Yeah. If you plan on shining a light on what's happening in Jamaica, because I still think the murder rate is ridiculously high. Yeah. I still think that returning residents are being targeted. It doesn't erase me thinking all of that, but it shines a light on certain people are putting themselves in certain situations that them can't get themselves out of. Jamaica know one of them places where you go play around and act like you're heading all right on your body. You better go there and you better know what you're doing when you're there. That's just like anywhere else, really.
Yeah.
Me not live willy-nilly apparent. You know what I'm saying?
At all.
So let's put things into perspective and let it be just that. If you're planning on going back to Jamaica or you're one of them people that, whether it's you're going for a vacation or you're going permanently, make sure you set yourself up properly and make sure you do a couple of things that we have put out in these videos for you to do. Make sure you listen to the video that man here where we are talking about, like if you're building down there, nobody got hire local people where John said him know Dave and Dave know Steve what can build a good part on the house for you, and don't do that. Go through reputable companies that have been doing this for years. Understand? Go through contractors. These kind of things and many more steps are there to be taken. Stop being rotted friendly if you're a woman, pardon my language. I invite man over for tea and then you can stay the night. And getting drunk in the company of strangers because it's just Jamaica. Like there are many different things to do to safeguard yourself. And when we read the narrative of a lot of these stories, those people never did them.
Yeah.
And I'm not excusing the ones like the old couple where, you know, after them running them house. These things happen and they have happened.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of the other cases where people walked into it, man. Walked right into it. In closing, nobody now stop me from go back to Jamaica neither, because that is my birthright and I will be there. That's what I'm telling you. And you yourself better not run away from what is yours. Go get it because it is yours. Yeah, safeguard it. Just remember to be safe. Wherever we're at in the world, we have to be safe anyways. We have to carry ourselves, learn to carry ourselves with accountability. Carry yourself with some dignity, first of all. And then carry yourself with accountability for your actions. Yeah?
And when we do these videos, this is Brains and the Beat and SouFLoTV.
Yes.
This is not CVM, TVJ, Fox News, MSNBC, or any of that.
Right.
This is a free world. We give you guys our thoughts and our opinions, and we do we do not follow the narrative that media puts out or media wants you to believe. We step outside the box. We step outside of what family and friends are going to think.
Right.
Or family and friends want to think of a person that they love. So forgive us if we're looking at all angles and it makes you uncomfortable. But for you to be uncomfortable is for you to grow and for you to understand.
Yes.
And for you to open your mind to things that can and will happen based on your actions. Don't just go willy-nilly anywhere, and know how you're treating people and the consequence of your actions when you treat people a certain way. That's all.
Yeah. Blessed people. Have a good evening. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for tuning in. It's SouFLoTV here. Brains and the Beat there. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and all these good things. Stay in touch. I'm gonna walk good. Yeah. Peace and love.
Bye.
Peace. Kaka sleep.
He's going to sleep. It's about